Hi Cancer, and welcome to your horoscope for November 2024. Thanks for joining me. My horoscopes are based on the UK time zone, and please watch them in this order: rising sign first, then sun sign, and finally moon sign. So I'm going to break the month down into 4 weeks, and I'm going to have a look at how the moon moves through your chart, which houses it sits in, so you'll know where you're supported in November and how you can use this to your advantage, right? So week 1, Friday the 1st until Sunday the 10th of November. On the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the moon is in Scorpio, and it's in your 5th house of what you love, romance, and really the things that you truly care about, the things that you love in life, right? And Scorpio is a water sign that gets to the truth of things. So you'll find it very, very easy to know what is it that makes me feel good, what is it that I love, what do I want to invest my time and energy into. But on the flip side, you'll also understand this is something where my feelings are not being reciprocated, and this isn't solvable, and this isn't within my control. So the first 3 days, if you're uncertain as far as some really important relationships in your life are concerned, you'll really get the information that's missing on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And particularly on the 1st of November, we have a new moon in Scorpio. So the moon is pitch black, and it pulls a lot of Scorpio energy in. And Scorpio really is about getting to the source of whatever it is that's happening. So you'll have that emotional wisdom. But also in between the new moon, the midheaven sits, right? The transiting midheaven, and that's also in Scorpio. So if you've been uncertain about what you might love to do as far as your work is concerned, that could also be delivered. So really it depends on if you have uncertainty in either or both those areas. Pay attention at the beginning of the month and you'll get a lot of info that will help you to come to a conclusion. On the 2nd of November, we have Mercury, the communication planet. That moves out of Scorpio in your 5th, and it moves into Sagittarius in your 6th house of work. So your focus really shifts now from the more personal side of things. And the communication planet in the sign of the Centaur is going to say, well, what's happening next as far as daily routine is concerned? Am I going to keep things as they are in terms of my work, my diet, my relationships? Or is there something I want to move towards now in future? So from the 2nd of November, it's a good idea to make certain plans for the future, or to at least say, what is it that I'd like to happen, ideally? On the 4th and 5th, the moon joins Mercury in Sagittarius in your 6th house. So again, getting organized and really getting prepared for what could happen next is a good idea, so that you go into it with confidence. But also it's an opportunity to manifest things into reality. So I can really access what I would like to happen. And now I can start to move towards that and let myself be guided by the higher realms. So you, Cancer, at the beginning of November here, you may feel like your intuition or the higher realms are intervening by giving you information and allowing you to set new goals that you do have control over for the future. On the 4th of November, Mars, the planet of masculinity and ambition and drive, that moves out of your sign in Cancer in your 1st house, and it moves into your 2nd house of money into Leo. And that's really good news for you as far as your career and your income is concerned, particularly your ideas around to make an income on your own independently of anybody else. And if that's something that usually scares you, or just the idea of being independent fills you with anxiety, one, I would say there's something more to it if you have that reaction. And second of all, with Mars now being in your 2nd from the 4th onwards, you'll have the confidence and the strength to punch through any of those inner doubts or inner obstacles and to actually make it happen. So just here in the first week of November, it really sees you guys, Cancer, coming from a place of paying a lot of attention to your relationships and trying to figure those out, actually figuring it out before the 3rd, and then having all that energy back so that you can pour it into your plans for the future. So it's very empowering just starting out here. On the 6th and 7th, the moon then goes into Capricorn, and it moves into your 7th house of relationships, and it joins Pluto in Capricorn. So again, to me, that says, where do I do a lot of work in my relationships, and where does it pay off, and where does it really not pay off? And how can I now unravel those relationships where I'm just being taken advantage of, and how can I reserve that energy for people who actually appreciate me and have something in return, right? So you're getting really clear on those things in your life that are no longer appropriate, and I don't think you're willing to suffer those kind of things and to tolerate them any longer. On the 8th and 9th, the moon then goes into Aquarius, and that's really good for anything that needs your anything that you need to do in an official capacity, any bureaucracy, red tape, visa applications, court documents, legal things, solicitors, taxes, anything like that. On the 8th and 9th, you'll find it easy to kind of navigate those formalities, filling in forms, paperwork, all of that kind of stuff. And on the 8th of November, you'll find it particularly easy. The moon is in its second quarter, then it's waxing, it's getting bigger. So you may find that you find it much easier to get the resources or to do the research that's required in order to complete something like that. And then on the 10th of November, in this first week, the moon goes into Pisces and it goes into your 9th house. And that's a really wonderful day for you to do any kind of spiritual work, any meditation, anything, chanting, playing music. It's really likely that you have some sort of spiritual breakthrough and gain some sort of spiritual answer that says, the universe, we support you and you're going in the right direction. So if you're looking for any kind of reassurance or a sense of, am I on the right track? Having that spiritual connection on the 10th particularly will give you the answer that you're looking for. So in the first 10 days, the moon moves from your 5th house of what you love all the way up into your 9th house. And that's pretty much the right-hand side of the chart, which is quadrants 2 and 3. So the question is really, what do I love? And how do I build that into my life? And how do I then use that in a way so that it spills out into my life and I'm connecting with people I want to connect with and that I'm not going counter to my own beliefs and values? Wow, okay. Week 2, Monday to Sunday, the 11th to 17th of November. On the 11th and 12th, the moon is still in Pisces. So it's not just the 10th that you may have this visitation or these answers coming in. It could also be on the 11th and 12th. On the 11th, though, we have Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity. That moves out of Sagittarius in your 6th and it goes into Capricorn in your 7th house of relationships. And this is now the turnaround that you've made space in your life. You're no longer willing to waste your energy on things that are counter you, that don't serve a purpose. And from the 11th of November, Venus is really birth, right? When Venus is in retrograde, I always mention it's not a good time to get into a new relationship or to start a new business. But with it now going into Capricorn in your 7th and it being direct, both those things I think are a good idea for you. So if you are someone who's thinking of starting your own business and then it supports Mars in Leo in your 2nd house, or if you're looking to get into a new relationship, both of those things are supported from the 11th onwards. On the 13th and 14th, the moon then goes into Aries and it sits in your 10th house of career. So anything that needs you to really hammer it in order for it to be resolved, if there's a ton of work that you've got to do, you'll be able to shoulder that burden on the 13th and 14th particularly. And then on the 15th and 16th, the moon goes into Taurus in your 11th house. So I think you may get a present from a family member or a loved one, or you may get some good news via another person, and it's really unexpected. So I'm sorry to spoil the surprise here, but expect something wonderful to come in on the 15th or 16th. The 15th, though, is particularly significant because we have a full moon in Taurus, and it's not just a full moon, it's a supermoon. And for you, that happens in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. Taurus is the earth sign of physical things, right? So either you get good news about your job, or there's some sort of a windfall, or someone delivers you a present. Let me know in the comments. Also on the 15th, Saturn goes direct. It's in Pisces in your 9th house. So I think that you'll feel more confident looking for things that you don't know and learning those instead of saying, oh, that's something I know nothing about, let me stay back. So you become much more curious and open-minded, and I think you feel safe enough to delve into new areas without the usual anxiety that may surround that. On the 17th then, the moon goes into Gemini. And that goes into your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength. And Gemini is a doorway, and it joins Jupiter, growth, abundance, prosperity, also in Gemini in your 12th. So, Cancer, I think you get another really nice message on the 17th here of November. And on that day as well, Uranus, the planet of the miraculous, it opposes the sun, and it's the best day of the year to see that star at night. So look out for that. And Uranus is in your 11th house. So it could be that the vision that's revealed to you is, hey, Cancer, pursue this next. It's doable. Don't give up. Pick up this dream again, or for the first time, and really go for it. We've all got your back. We want you to succeed. You can do it. Wow. So in week 2, we've got the moon going through your 4th quadrant, which is really about transcending the existing self and replacing it with an even greater aspiration. So I think you're able to make huge inroads as far as your career is concerned in week 2, but also in your hopes and dreams for the future and how optimistic and good you feel about the future, right? So if you're a Cancer who's felt a little like pressed that, oh, I put so much into this relationship and this still hasn't worked out, I feel a bit flat now, I feel a little disenchanted, discouraged, you'll get your mojo back here big time, and you'll replace those kind of things that have fizzled with something much better and much more rewarding. So good for you. Week 3, Monday to Sunday, 18th to 24th of November. On the 18th, the moon is in Gemini still. So both those days, the 17th and 18th, you may get some sort of, either, it doesn't matter whether you're clairvoyant or clairaudient or intuitive or whatever you want to call it, whichever one of your spiritual senses is most open on those 2 days, that's how you'll receive the message. So whether it's your own feeling, or it's a dream, or it's some sort of sentence that you read over and over again, just be open to that. On the 19th and 20th, the moon goes into Cancer in your 1st house of self. So those 2 days are really like, oh, I've made it. I finally have a direction now. I can relax. I don't need to be so nervous and anxious anymore. So it's a big sigh of relief. On the 19th of November as well, Pluto, that goes into Aquarius, and it moves into your 8th house of authorities, institutions, groups of people, right? So if you're someone who works in a big organization and you have ideas that you want to contribute, but you haven't been able to, from the 19th onwards, maybe having a discussion with the boss or the supervisor and saying, hey, listen, I've got certain ideas. Is there a way for me to express those, to implement those, to expand from my natural or my existing job role? I think that kind of thing will go down nicely. And I think you'll be given the opportunity to take on more responsibility or to do more in your work so that it takes you towards career progression. On the 21st and 22nd, the moon goes into Leo. And again, that's in your 2nd house of money next to Mars in Leo. So any news you get about new business ventures or any ideas you come up with that kind of identify themselves by either, hey, wouldn't it be great to have this business? Or you get a real money idea. Look out for those on the 21st and 22nd. It may herald the beginning of a new journey that could pay greater dividends as far as your income is concerned. On the 21st of November, the sun goes into Sagittarius, and that goes into your 6th house. So from now on, really managing your daily routine, you're very unlikely to become overwhelmed. I think by this time of the month, you're massively focused on accomplishing certain goals. You're going to be very busy at this time. And you can really pour everything you've got in that, and the results will come around quite quickly. On the 22nd, we have the moon in its 4th quarter. It's waning down to becoming a new moon now. So the 22nd, you may also notice that one of these new money ideas or plans for business or the future, you may already see how that could work. You may already get your first bit of feedback that things are clicking into place as such. On the 23rd and 24th, the moon goes into Virgo in your 3rd house of communication. So these 2 days are a good time for you to reflect and to look over any work you've done in the past. We've also got a Mercury retrograde then happening soon after on the 25th of November. So doing any proofreading or fact checking on the 23rd and 24th, you'll find it easiest to do that kind of stuff in November. So make the most of that. And in week 3, the houses that are covered are pretty much the first quadrant, houses 1, 2, and 3. So week 3 is about you figuring out, now you're no longer wasting your time and energy on things that don't work, right? Now it's about taking the things that you've learned. And if you're someone who wants to create a second source of income or to increase your pay, there are certain things in week 3 that you can do, start on your own, or that you can talk to certain colleagues about that are likely to give you that desired increase. So it's really, yeah, that's the best week to do those kind of adjustments. Week 4, Monday to Saturday, the 25th to the 30th of November. On the 25th, the moon is still in Virgo, so those kind of reflections, making sure everything is right. Mercury goes retrograde the same day, so I would do it on the 23rd, 24th if possible. It's kind of like the handbrake screeching on, saying, hey, check the stuff before you submit it, before you close this off. On the 26th and 27th, the moon goes into Libra, and that's the best time of this month to spend with family members, to do things as a unit. There's very little room for conflict here. On the 28th, 29th, and 30th, the moon goes into Scorpio, back to where it started. And again, this is really good for having a clear sense of this is where I'm at emotionally. But here at the end of the month, I also think it's an opportunity to start new relationships. So if you're single and looking, I think the end of the month is best for that. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but the Mercury retrograde starts on the 25th of November and it lasts until the 15th of December. So during that period, communication and transportation is stifled. It's a good idea to double check everything, to plan in a bit of extra time in case there are delays, that, it's not the end of the world. So during that period, end of November till 15th of December, just give yourself some extra time to do everything and make sure that you proofread and double check. So I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with, but let's see, I didn't mention what houses in this last week. In the last week, the moon goes through houses 4, 5, 6, so that's the second quadrant, which really, what is it that nurtures me? What do I love, and how can I expand its role in my everyday life? So you're really disciplined here, Cancer, in November, and I really think you're being supported with a lot of information, both about your most important relationships and also your work and your learning and the direction you're going into. And it's really like you're getting all your ducks in a row in order to make real progress. So I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website, gregoryscott.com. To draw up your birth chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then please order a chart rectification with me. That's a process where I work it out manually. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please, so it shows up in searches. Subscribe for more videos and share this with anyone you think may like this, because that helps the channel grow, and I'd be ever so grateful. So I hope you have a fabulous November, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.